Hi everyone, today I'm going to be sharing some really good succulents that are brilliant for growing indoors. First up we have the Easter cactus, and this is probably one of my easiest succulents. This one is literally no trouble whatsoever. I just really love how this one trails. And yeah, these are just so hardy as well. They really do make it through the winters okay. I've had this one for I think at least a couple of years, but maybe longer. And it does actually put out some really pretty flowers too, kind of just after Easter time. And the flowers are really nice. They don't last a great deal of time, but they're really beautiful when they come out. Unfortunately, it's not flowering at the moment, but yeah, this one's such a cool plant. It is quite delicate, sometimes bits fall off, but the great thing about it is you can just put those bits that fall off into soil and propagate them. So yeah, this one is probably a good all-rounder, I'd say, and it copes with a little bit less light as well than some other succulents do. I have mine, it kind of gets some bright indirect light, but it also gets medium light, and it really is okay. As you can see, it's always growing, and yeah, it's always nice and healthy. And then another succulent that I really enjoy growing is this one. This is a type of Crassula. This one is the Crassula Hobbit. I believe it's known by a few different names, but I think it's Hobbit or Gollum. I'll put it up on screen for you, but it does come with a few different names. But I really like this one because it's got kind of a coral-like appearance, and the leaves are kind of quite fleshy. You can give them a squeeze and feel if the plant needs a drink. It will get kind of wrinkly when it needs a drink, and you can really tell when it's just been watered. This one, for example, has just been watered, and the leaves are nice and plump and firm, and when they're like that, you definitely don't need to water. This one is very drought tolerant too, and you do want to use a really good wild draining potting mix for it, but it's just such a cool plant, really unfussy, really easy. I've had this one for a number of years now. It was one of those kind of tiny novelty succulents that you get, and yeah, it's just gone from strength to strength really, so I could definitely highly recommend this one. And in this little bowl here I have a little arrangement. It's quite cool to make succulent arrangements, I find. And this tallest one here, this is a string of buttons. This one was actually a variegated string of buttons, and I think the variegation might be coming back at the top, but I think over winter it's lost its variegation. But yeah, this one was probably about half the size. When I first got it, it was up to about here, and that was last year. So it's quite a fast grower for a succulent. So yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to leave it like this or give it a chop, but I really like this one. I think it's a fun one to grow. I haven't actually tried propagating from it yet, so I don't know if it branches, but I just think it's really fun the way it kind of grows up. It's, you know, it's quite geometric in its shape. And then over here next to it, this one is called a bear paw, and this is the variegated bear paw. So this also comes in plain green as well, but this one's got kind of like some white variegation in it. But I just love the bear paw cactus. It's got such a cool shape. It does really look like paws, and the great thing is they're really fun to stroke too. They're quite soft and a little bit furry, but you do need to be really careful, even though it's difficult not to kind of stroke them. They're very, very delicate. I find that they fall off really easily, and so that's why mine are looking a little bit bare compared to how they were looking, because quite a few of the little bear paws have fallen off over time, but it will grow back, and it is quite an easy plant to care for. I mean, I've had mine in no drainage and it's been fine, but yeah, other than it being delicate, it's a really easy plant, and I just love how furry it is. And then over here, this is a Kalanchoe. I think it's called a zebra Kalanchoe, and yeah, it's obviously it's because it's got this kind of cool purpley variegation. It's a little bit more pronounced on the undersides of the leaves. The leaves are very fleshy, and you can see it's got a kind of a real cool purple variegation. This one also has really cool flowers. It's not flowering at the moment, but it flowered all of the growing season last year, and the flowers lasted a long time. But yeah, I just really like the kind of rosette shape of this one, and it's a bit more interesting than some of the other Kalanchoes you can get because it's got this kind of cool purpley variegation and super easy as well. And then this is one of my all-time favourite succulents. This is actually quite a rare one. I don't see it around a great deal. I actually found this pot for it in a charity shop recently, and I really like how it kind of spills from the pot and it's kind of falling over a bit. But yeah, this is one of my favourite succulents. It kind of grows in a lotus shape, as you can see, and mine is kind of getting quite long and falling over, and I really like that about it. I like the form as it tumbles over, and you can see on the undersides as well you get a kind of a purpley tone, which is really nice. And yeah, the more sun it gets, the more purpley it will get, but I just really like that about this plant. I think it's really pretty, and also it's got a really fun texture too. I seem to be drawn to succulents with fun textures. This one's not so much fuzzy, but it's kind of more sandpapery. And yeah, the good thing about the succulents on this list are they don't have spines, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, this one's just really pretty, and yeah, I might try propagating this year. Now this little guy is another fuzzy little guy, and that's why I really love this one, because it's got really fuzzy leaves, and it's called a chocolate soldier. And it's kind of got a more of a chocolatey margin to the leaves, and as I say, I just love the fuzz on this one. I'm really attracted to kind of fuzzy succulents, and it kind of grows from the middle there in a kind of a rosette fashion. And again, I haven't actually propagated this one, so I don't know if it branches when you chop it. I may give that a go this year to see if it does, but at the moment it's still quite small, so I'm just kind of enjoying having it as a little tot. But I do really like these kind of brown edges that it's got, and then the leaves kind of get lighter as well. But yeah, I think this is a really cute one. I actually found this one in a supermarket, and they don't usually last very long, but this one seems to be pretty hardy, I'd say, because it's lived. And yeah, it's really easy to care for as well. I just water it when it gets dry, and that's about it really. Give it plenty of sun. And then another of probably one of my top favourites, actually, this one. This is a type of Crassula that I actually don't see that often when I go plant shopping. It's called the Crassula Cephalophora, and it's kind of got a kind of a bluey tinge to the leaves, and they're a little bit kind of, they're not fuzzy, but they're kind of smooth fuzzy, if that makes sense. They feel really nice, put it that way. And yeah, they're just really like kind of smooth and fuzzy. I'm not sure how to explain it, but the leaves are really cool and plump, and you'll notice that the tops of mine have been chopped off. That's because I chop the tops off every spring, and this encourages it to branch out. So that's why I've got most of the tops kind of chopped off. That's a good tip if you'd like to get this one to branch. Usually you get 2 branches growing from where you chopped it. Not always, but more often than not you will do. This is more of a shrubby kind of growing succulent, so I don't think it gets too big, but I think it's a really fun one. As I say, I don't see it around all that often, and I'm kind of enjoying growing this one. It does grow quite a lot when you chop it as well. That seems to really encourage it to bush out, so that's why I've been doing that every year, and yeah, I'll just continue to do that on a yearly basis. But I just think it's got the coolest colour leaves. I don't think it really does it justice seeing it on camera, but yeah, it's got kind of almost a bluey, silvery shine to the leaves, a kind of a tone to it. And then this is another type of jade plant, but this is the classic jade that you see, the Crassula ovata, and I've had this one since it was a tiny teeny baby. You can see that I've also chopped the tops off this one as well. I've literally just done that because it encourages it to get a thick trunk like this. That's how you get it. Basically, you just keep chopping the tips off every year. I do it early spring, that way it has plenty of time to grow back, and normally you get 2 new branches where you chopped it. And yeah, as I say, I've had this one from just a tiny baby, and I've had this probably for a number of years now, and every year I just chop the tops off, and over time it's beginning to turn into a tree-like form, which is what I'm aiming for with this one, really. So yeah, I will just basically continue to do that every year, and it does respond really well. You don't have to worry about harming the plant. It really likes to be pruned, and it really encourages it to grow extra branches for you. So if you like more of a tree-like form and less of a leggy kind of one stem plant, then definitely chop the tips off your Crassula, because yeah, they really respond well to it, and it thickens them up. You get thicker trunks, and also the leaves get bigger as well the more you do it. So I'd highly recommend doing that if you have one. And then this is another type of jade plant, the Crassula ovata, only this is the Variegated ovata. And it kind of has white variegation in the leaves, kind of stripes. And it also does get some red sun stressing around the margins of the leaves. Mine doesn't have a huge amount of that right now, just because we've just come out of winter and it hasn't been getting as much sun. But yeah, I thought this one might be reverting, but this new growth that's coming through, it is actually coming through variegated, so maybe it's not reverting. But this one's really easy, the same as the other jade plants. I basically just let it dry out, and I haven't actually chopped this one this year because it's already got branches in a way that I like it at the moment. It was already branched when I bought it, and I kind of bought it towards the end of summer last year, so there won't be any need for me to chop it this year. I should probably do that next year though. But yeah, this is just a bit of a cool spin on the usual jade plant, and if you give it really strong sun, it will get more of these kind of red margins. I don't know if you can see on this one, but it does have some, but they're quite faint. But yeah, it does get much more pronounced when you expose it to more sun, because the red is from sun stressing, and it's quite a nice look because you've got the variegation and then you get the red sun stressing, and yeah, I think it's quite nice. So yeah, I'd highly recommend this one. Really easy to care for. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Take care.